Okay, there's some changes. I am supposed to be at 4 o'clock and then come earlier to see you all. Thank you so much. And some of my friends may not see me because of these early changes, but I'm glad to because I can have a little bit more time to express my topic. So I'm Kevin Wong from CivilConnect Ltd. And today I'd like to talk about the automated statutory submission for architects and structural engineers. I think most of you here are professional, including contractor, developer, governments, and structural engineer, architects. We have different priorities. We start BIM. We like BIM. We love BIM, right? So our company is official Autodesk reseller. We are a local professional software developer and reseller for the architect, structural engineer, as I said. So we developed something for the professionals. Before I go on to the topic, I would like to talk about some story. I have two groups of friends. One group is architect, one group is structural engineer. They work together. Before we go on to the BIM, we implement BIM. They still a friend, but after work on BIM, they still friend, but some of them become enemies. Why? Because when working together, there are lots of problems, and we need to solve the problem. One of the most important things I can see when I was working as a structural engineer before is that the most important thing is how do you transfer your models into drawings, and then the most important is how is the drawing to get BD approved. This is the most important part, I would think. How beautiful is your design is good, but if not BD approved, finish, right? How is your structural engineer, you have this thick of calculation, if you're not getting BD approved, finish. You cannot get the paycheck, right? So if you want, so today, see if I can give you some more idea on how the Revit can help you to get more paychecks. Is that okay? Right? Good. Although it's silence, but okay. Let me tell you. So Revit is very good BIM platform and software, but it's not intended to design for local statutory submission following ADMs. It's supposed to be lots of local code at the moment, but it's not designed for this. It's designed for international, but not quite local, right? So majority of architects find it's quite time-consuming and difficult, especially when you carry out the calculation for the GFA and UFA, mean of escape, whatsoever. So we like design. As an architect, you like design, but sometimes, somehow, you don't like calculation. So you might prepare the submission directly in Revit, or even export to the whole model to AutoCAD, and ask the draftsman to do some drafting for you. Or you ask the other, for example, the assistant architect to calculate the GFA, UFA for you. But if there is a design changes, there will involve lots of redo works. So the manual workflow is Revit to AutoCAD, and then produce the drawing for BD submission, GBB submission. But in case there is a changes, you cannot go back to Revit unless you are doing some manual works. So that is not a two-way process at the meantime. So you won't get too many benefits from BIM if you not have the smooth flow from your model to drawing and to BD submission and get approved. So there is time-consuming and create a lot of abortive works. The most important is you may have some unnecessary errors, which can be disaster to the architect, especially if you have error happens in GFA, then you will get disapproved. from your BD submission. So how can you solve it? So we developed a plugin called ACS at Revit. It's developed by a building information technology company called BIT, B-I-T, and our company is CivilConnect Ltd. So basically, the one who developed this plugin is an architect, is an AP, and also we have an input from structural engineers in Hong Kong. So it's an aim for professionals. So ACS eliminates lots of abortive work in statutory submission for you. So we do most of the calculation that you find it very tedious in your manual works, which can be synchronized automatically by one update button now. So it's very easy to carry out the calculation ready for submission. So architects no longer required to keep redoing the works, especially in the calculation parts. So how is the magic works? So that is the magic, the part one, the magic for architects. So let's see how it going to work. So we automate around 70% works for government submission. So for example, this is a real statistic. If you are doing 2 months work for the BD submission calculation, we shorten it into 3 weeks for you, okay? And it enhances the accuracy and quality because you won't have errors even if you have design changes now. We will auto-update on the data because the design is changed. That is the benefit from the BIM actually, because Revit model is a real-time information-rich model. So now, if you have any changes, the drawing will be updated at the same time. The calculation will also update at the same time. So for example, you usually have to doing the GFA calculation. So what you have to do is just few steps. The first step is you classify the area usage in your BIM model in Revit, and then you specify the area where, what kind of GFA classification it is, and you can even override the GFA concession. So it will calculate the accountable or non-countable GFA for you, and also will calculate the concession summary breakdown, schedule, and also those GFA breakdown completely automated. So let me show you more into the operation. So once you have the, you open up the plugin, so you classify that area A into some area which you think the usage is for the GFA classification. So for example, it's a non-domestic area to be deducted, or it's a domestic area whatsoever. So when you classify the area, and then you choose whether you need to override any parameters. So all of this option is following the code, the GPP submission local code, okay? So you can find all of this in ADM, all right? And then, so once you have classification, and then you go into our plugin, and then choose the GFA calculation. So all of this will be few seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of the calculation will be done for you, including the formula and calculation, all following the local code, ready for BD submission, especially for the GBP. So you see that the non-domestic concession, it will calculate the total non-domestic GFA, actual non-domestic exempt area, and all of this kind of complicated manually work. So imagine if you do it manually as usual, I'm sure you will experience something like, it's very easy to get errors if you change something. If someone change something, change the area or change the border, you have to calculate again, right? You have to use Excel, you have to use lots of different tools to achieve the same goal. But now, if you have a BIM model, you have our plugin, this is ready for you. The second is the mean of escape and sanitary fitment calculation, which is calculated according to the FS code 2011. And for example, the people require for each compartment, it will cover all the basins, spa, Uranus calculations, even like the toilet or man or female ratio. So the same thing is you classified it, and then you will choose the plugin. Once you are setting up, the MOE calculation will be automated. So this template is already included in the plugin, so you don't need to create this table. It's already according to the code, and it will come with the plugins. So what you have to do is define the areas only, and also the classification, which is you used to do it, right? So the calculation you can see is already done. So the usable area is in square meter, MOE room capacity, the required or provided. So all of this is automated. Also the FRC calculation, the fire resistant compartment, according to the FS code 2011. And we keep updating the code, because if BD has updating the local code, we will update it during the maintenance. So this is very useful, and it will also do the compartment breakdown. You define the height, volume, area, and it will calculate for you. So the operation is simple. So you just open up the FRC classification, and then define is a class 1, class 2, class 3A, 3B, 3C, and specify what kind of compartments, floor height, and then apply it, and then it will, you will see that from the other drawings, which is prepared this already for you. All the views is ready, and then you will see that if you go inside more closely, and you choose the FRC calculation, you click it, and then wait for a few seconds, and then you will get all the calculation. So I think this few seconds is worth to waiting, because this maybe you need to do 5 days, but now it's 5 seconds, okay? So all the cover, all the beam required cover, or the concrete cover required for the fire resistant compartment, all will be following the code. We also have some additional benefit, which is, for example, the auto coloring. In the old day or your usual day, you need to do this coloring of the drawings using AutoCAD, right? Or you have to some manual works according to the type of the structure. So now this could be coloring. Whatever you put the family, or you put anything on the any object inside Revit, it will produce drawing automatically and following the color of the ADM 19. So let me blow up some bigger for you. So for example, you have some internal partition wall. You want to put some basins, for example. So this all family will be included inside the plugin. So this is very useful, and because of it following the submission color coding, so whatever you put that family, that drawing is already prepared, okay? So for example, let me skip something. So this is a toilet. So if you put a row of the toilet here, it will count the number and follow the number of the toilet there with the integer. So all the color code is following the local code practice. It's also doing the auto legends. So what we are doing is by tagging. So we build in some tagging, which is very easy for you to do the tagging for the doors, for the windows, for the room tagging. So you can sort it, like if you have 1,000 rooms, 1,000 doors, so now you can just use a few minutes to finish it. Those blow-up drawings would be there if you have a model and you have to plug in with all the coloring, all the correct material following the code, right? So many methods usually require 1 day to complete for such kind of a section drawing according to the code. So now require only 5 minutes. So you will see that the output will be quite nice. If you have some sections like this, you can change the material of the walls. Okay, so auto scheduling. So scheduling include the assigning the door numbers, room numbers, and also this kind of scheduling, usually a lot. So we have a project in the airport. There is like 2,000 doors, 3,000 doors. So usually you could do it manually, but you have 30% or 40% of errors there. But now if you use this systematically, using the plugin that can control all the numbering according to your preference, and then you will put all the number correctly according to the levels, according to the zone, according to the room's usage. So you will see that during this pi duct or this room area, the numbering will be following your sequence with good logics. So in the scheduling, you can find all of this sequence into very good orders. So to minimize the errors, you can see that. So G19, 24, 25. So it's very easy to do it by just clicking. So, or you sort the ID, this is same logics. Okay. So that is for the architects, all right? So, so architect is happy now. So how about the Strat E? So we also put some magic. We develop the plugin for the structural engineer because suppose architect and structural engineer are working together, right? As I said. So, so structural engineer love calculations, right? And we hate design changes, not architects, sorry. We hate the design changes, just kidding. Okay, we automate the tedious work for structural design and drawing production, including loading, structural usage according to local code. So imagine you have a beam model, Revit model from the architect with all of the partition wall, all of the slabs, and all of the columns, right? But usually in the old days, we get the model, we have no use as a structural engineer. There's no use because we can't use all the elements. We need to build the model in ETABS from zero, right? We need to build a model to Orion from other software, robot, from the ground, from start. So there's no use in the old day. But now we developed a plugin so that you can use the architect's model for structural engineer. So we enhance the accuracy and quality of deliverable and also update on all the design date changes in the data. So let's say the first feature, which is quite useful, is I can say to assign the structural usage from the architectural plan. So if you have the architectural models from the architect, so now you can, because they specify the room usage, so now you can use the model and automatically create a loading key pan. So let me show you the operation. So for example, you already have some room use. For example, it's hotel, kitchen, light room. So now if you have a small area, you want to specify the loadings, right? So the classification of this room is, for example, I type in office. This is following the code of practice for the impost law 2011 in Hong Kong, okay? So it will automatically put that loadings onto that area, okay? And it will produce the loading key pan automatically. So now you can have the loading key pan right away after you have the architectural models. So architects do something for you already. So structural engineer, you have less work now. So the other feature is it automatically creates the area loads and loading key pan from the usage. So because you already have the usage of the architect's usage, right? So now, according to the COP imposed law 2011, there's some area loading on there. So let me show you how it works. So on the left side is the 3D model, on the right side is the 2D plan, right? So this 2D plan is created by the architect. Have the room usage. You have also automatically assign the structural loading. So now this area load could be automatically created. You see on the left side, the loading, the area load is already automatic created. And also the loading plan, loading key plan, which is you need to submit to BD, is also created. So how can you make it more beautiful? So just change the loading key pan template that it comes with the plugin, and then you can see this loading key pan, you can use it for BD submission. Okay? And also it creates a line load. So if you have a different wall partition with different thickness, right? So now, because you have concrete density, you have the thickness, you have everything. So it will automatically create the loading, the line load because of the wall onto the slab. So how does that work? You highlight that area, and then you choose only the walls. So in the plugin, you will create, so automatically wall load, you can see all the wall will calculate according to their thickness and put the loading onto the slab and the beam. So it's actually a real load which can export to ETABS, okay? This loading are real loading, not only for submission. It's a real loading can export to ETABS or other software, SAP 2000, whatever. It's also auto-assign the beam number because beam number, column number, slab number are very tedious, right? So we also developed some feature which is easier for you to to make the life easier. So you can add prefix, suffix, whatever. For example, 1B, 1B2, 1B3. You have 1,000 beam, now you can click just few clicks, and then you can put all the beam in sequence in X or Y, descending or ascending direction. So let me show you how to do it. For example, you have a beam with the beam label, with the beam dimension already, but no beam label, okay? So you start the model like this before you carry out structural analysis. So in X coordinate, I choose descending, Y descending, X ascending, and I put a prefix by like 1B something, 1B001, 1B002. So and then you execute it in the area ID and put it. So you will see that all the beam, few seconds, okay. All the beam will have the beam numbers, which is very easy for you because you can export this beam number to other structural analysis program, right? So column had the same logic. So we have a structural graphical schedule as well, which is built-in function, but now you can name all these drawings. So for example, 1C1, 1C2, 2C1. So same logic. If you have already has a columns, so you put starting and put some ascending or descending, put start as 1 or prefix, put 1C, for example, for that level, okay? So assign it to a area ID, execute, and then the column name will be there. And also the slab number. All right, for the column, go back. Actually, we have a graphical column schedule, which is BD also interested in it, with the RC detail, right? So now you can have all the namings. Slab number also the same. So you highlight all the slabs and put it, use the plugins and say, okay, I want the floors to put it as 1S1, 1S2. And then it will execute, and it will have 1S1, 1S2, 1S3. So now you don't need to be afraid how many slabs you have, how many columns you have in your structure. Even you have a 100-story building, you don't need to be afraid. Okay, so I hope that the refit will give you some more idea on how you transfer your model into BD submission and then get more paycheck. If you want free trial, just go on our Facebook, search BeamHK, and find us, okay? So let me something. And then I hope have 100 likes today and to communicate with you and send you some trial to use, okay? And even some discount maybe. Okay, thank you.